All right. Welcome, one and all, to Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am here
Cheers.
with Brian. Oh, there you go. Got that cup of coffee to start your day off. Get your
It's
weekend going there, my friend. How you
this
doing?
is this is number three, and it's almost done.
Oh, man, you are a machine on a machine. Everybody out there, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave some comments. I always appreciate it, especially when we can do some battle royal with the trolls. I always appreciate it. We're going to have a special podcast today. We're not going to really talk about what's going on in the world of baseball actually on the field. We're going to talk about Pete Rose. There was a lot of movement this week. Tuesday of this week, MLB and Rob Manfred removed Pete Rose and Joe Jackson and 8 other people from the Chicago White Sox from the permanently ineligible list. Manfred said it ended with his death. He quote said, "In my view, once an individual has passed away, the purpose of Rule 21 has been served." Shoeless Joe and 7 of his teammates were banned by MLB Commissioner Kennesaw Landis for life in 1920. On August 24th, 1989, Pete Rose voluntarily accepted a lifetime ban after Bart Giamatti reviewed the Dow report and decided he had violated Rule 21. Pete subsequently denied betting on baseball. January 5th of 2004, Pete admitted to betting on baseball in his autobiography. He was never reinstated by subsequent commissioners. Now, Rob Manfred, now that Pete has passed on, is allowing him to be on the ballot for the ERA committee in December of 2027. I gave a lot there, Brian. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are it's kind of ridiculous on its face. Uh, I have no idea what Rob Manfred is trying to accomplish with this. If he's trying to get in the good graces of the fans, maybe, because there has always been a subject of fans that are clamoring for him to be in the Hall of Fame, saying it doesn't matter, he's still the all-time hit king, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, where this goes, still, it doesn't mean he's going to be a slam dunk to get voted into the Hall of Fame if he ends up on the ballot. But if Manfred is saying, hey, this ended when the guy died, then what? Why didn't he reinstate Shoeless Joe and the rest of the Black Sox guys, you know, 20 years ago when he jumped into the seat or whatever it was?
Absolutely.
I think it's kind of a joke, and uh, Pete accepted this deal. And then he goes on and on. You know, he said it a million times. Well, there wasn't a set commissioner in place for me to reapply to, blah, 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 until Bud Selig was officially the commissioner. And then, you know, it never happened for a reason. Period. End of story. And why he's deciding that they need to do this, and I don't know, it's another weird, dumb thing that I think is just trying to garner him some type of appreciation from the fans or or whatever. I don't get it.
I
Come back at me.
I am. I am. Uh, First of all, we live in a time where politics and sports are intertwined, and President Trump has said on the campaign trail and in his post in his statement since he's become the president that he wanted to pardon Pete. He wanted to see him in the Hall of Fame. He did. It has been noted that he did have a 1 hour one-on-one meeting with Rob Manfred. We don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden, exactly to your point, Brian, Shoeless Joe Jackson was on the ban list for 100 years, right? And nobody made an argument for him. Now we're in a political situation slash sports situation. I don't know if Rob Manfred thinks he can keep the antitrust exemption going. I don't know what happened behind the closed doors. Let's take that and put it to the side, okay? Pete Rose is overwhelmingly supported by the fans to go into the Hall of Fame. As far as I'm concerned, I don't really see what the big deal is here. I will say this. Pete, when he got banned in 2000 or 1989, to 2004 showed no remorse. He never admitted he bet on baseball until he brought it out in his own autobiography, right? This is a guy that
And he
we
lied
are,
about it, saying he was
yes,
vehemently. I mean, he was the Lance Armstrong of
yes,
baseball betting.
yes, correct. That's exactly right, Brian. And he wanted to be the martyr. He was the guy who set up shop at Cooperstown on Hall of Fame weekend, and I'm the guy who should be in the Hall of Fame. He showed no remorse until he could profit from it. Okay, he agreed to the ban. Also, and this is something for anybody who's not understanding, and I didn't do a very good job here, and I apologize. Rule 21 is the sacrosanct rule of you cannot bet on baseball because in 1919, 8 people on the Chicago White Sox threw the World Series for a notorious mob boss and gambler, Arnold Rothstein. Okay? They were worried about the game coming to an end. It was we cannot even get our head around what an epic scandal it was in the nation for literally years. Babe Ruth, as far as I'm concerned, is the greatest player who ever played because he brought fans back. I'm not saying on the field Willie Mays might have been a better player, whatever. I'm not going to get into that argument now. But he literally brought fans back in waves that we didn't see until, in my humble opinion, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa had that home run derby. Okay? Whatever it was. Baseball was on the threat of being relegated to a second sport behind college football, boxing, whatever was the tour de force back in the 1920s. Pete Rose never admitted this nation does believe in forgiveness. If he would have came out and said, "Hey, I messed up, I screwed up, I know that Bart Giamatti, well, he passed on, but Bud Selig, and subsequent commissioners would have actually let him have a path to get back in, but he never wanted it. What do you think?
Uh, I don't think other commissioners would have given him a pass and let him back in because I think, well, this commissioner did, but I think this commissioner is just a little soft.
I agree.
Because we had right after Bart Giamatti, we had Fay Vincent, who was 100% against Pete, uh, you know, and then you had Bud Selig take over, and Bud Selig was pretty much against him too, but he did allow him to come back. Like they had that one celebration in an All-Star game where he got to
Yeah.
come out on the field and stuff like that.
Cincinnati.
Now, the other thing I will say about Pete Rose and the Hall of Fame is the guy is in the Hall of Fame already. He is noted in the Hall of Fame there, as the all-time hit. He just doesn't have the plaque in the
Correct.
enshrinement room, and he
Correct.
doesn't need to have that. He lost his chance to have that uh, by agreeing to this, well, by betting on baseball, getting caught betting on baseball, and then agreeing to the ban. And
Right.
to lift that now and to say, okay, now we're going to give him a plaque to celebrate how great he was. I don't know. That ship has sailed. It shouldn't happen.
And understand this, and this is something that legacy media right now is not talking about. That Pete, when he agreed to that ban, and this is a very important thing for anybody listening here, when he agreed to that ban, he also agreed that the Dowd report would not be fully revealed. We don't know everything that is in that Dowd report, right? Did he bet as a player? Did he actually bet against his team? We don't know. Okay. And I'm not even speculating what's in there. But think about this. If the man agreed to be banned, but his condition was you can't release this report about me, there's probably some pretty damn incriminating stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a reason he doesn't want everyone to know all the real details
Exactly. Exactly.
because then
Okay.
he loses the court of public opinion as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're 100% right, Brian. Now, let me ask you this. We're going to fast forward to December of 2027. The ERA committee is sitting. There's 16 members. He needs 12 votes to get in. Does he get in on the first ballot?
Who is this committee made up of?
It is made up. We do not
This
have
is
names,
this is
but
our
there
other
is
Hall of Fame podcast for another day. But Okay, we
Yes.
get into all the different voting committees. Who's the committee that's going to be voting on him? Will he show up because it's his first time on the ballot, on the regular ballot? Or because he's been retired for so long, does he go to a
Right.
Veterans Committee
No, yeah,
ballot
he
or
goes
some
to
other?
the ERA committee.
Which one?
Yes, correct. He's not going to be on the regular ballot because he's been retired. They can't put you on after 15 years, after your official last day, whatever that is, right?
Is
Same
it?
thing for
Or are
Joe
you
Jackson.
only eligible to be on that ballot for 15 years? Because he hasn't been on it once yet.
Correct, but they can't put you on after you've had a 15-year gap, and then you have to go to these
Okay.
ERA committees, the whatever they
All right.
are. Okay,
All right.
okay, that's a great
I would say it
question.
depends on who's on it.
Okay, okay,
Because if it's guys that he played against in his era, former players who are Hall of Famers now who played against him, they might think, no, this guy broke the rule, and they are going to hold and have no remorse for. Uh,
I agree. I agree. I
or,
understand.
it could be some guys that are like, nah, he was a good hard player, and that stuff didn't matter because we know he always tried his hardest to win games. Whatever. It depends on who's on the committee, really.
Sure. I think overwhelmingly he's going to get in because now it's a political thing. Okay, look, let's not. I agree with everything you're saying. They're going to stack the committee to get the 12 out of the 16 votes. I don't really care. They're going to bring Joe Jackson in, which he should have been in 80 years ago if this is the standard. You know
Right.
why? But they're going to get him in. Everybody's going to sing "Kumbaya." We're going to put a plaque in there. That speech, we're going to see what his kid does. Is it revenge? Is it thankfulness? We're going to see. To me, it's a slam dunk deal. Now they're just giving, we're going to get 2 years. But it is interesting. Think about this, Brian. We have 2 years, a little over 2 years till that. Is there going to be factions inside baseball that will leak out the entire Dowd report to maybe turn public opinion? I don't know. I think public opinion is already cemented. Okay. I don't really think you're going to change it at this point. That's my personal opinion. But, there is nefarious people on both sides, right?
Well, how about this? We didn't talk about this, or even I didn't even think about it till just now. You mentioned that the agreement he signed was that the Dowd report stays private.
Correct.
Well, if the dude's dead now, so we can take off the lifetime ban, then why can't we make that public now? The dude's dead.
Well, I agree. I'm sure there was a legal agreement, though, but you're right. Absolutely. I agree with you there, right? And we'll see if his family. Look, at this point, people don't care about the Dowd report. They don't really care about it. They just want to see the Hit King in. And you're right. He is in the Hall of Fame. He just doesn't have his own little plaque like he so desperately wanted, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's do a little pivot. We're going to end this segment here real quick. Do you think this affects the PED guys? We're off the rails, Brian. We're going to
I'm
go
gonna
deep
say
here.
I know. I'm gonna say no
I don't think it does
because
either.
because because like you said, it's all political, and
It is now.
because it's all well. There was never. I mean, sure, the allegations are out of control, and you look at some of the things, and it's blatantly obvious without having 100% ironclad details. Barry
Correct.
Bonds used PEDs. He didn't actually ever test positive. He didn't actually break any rules because there was no drug testing then, and they stonewalled him. Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, all those guys. So I don't think this is going to change. All right, since we're putting Pete in, we can put those guys in now. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to happen.
I agree because you're 100% right, Brian. God, you're starting to think like me. You're doing good here. Is the difference? The big difference is the voters have had their chance to make their mark. Right with Pete, they never had a chance to actually go to the ballot. They have been able to adjudicate how they feel about the people who are rumored to have taken PEDs. Right? I mean,
Yes.
they've had their moment, and I'm sure they're just going to move on and go, "Hey, sorry, good luck, A Rod." You know, maybe you can get into the Women's Softball Hall of Fame. You know, good luck. Start that third career. You know, F you, and then by way, F you again. I got to tell you, I watch him. I watch him, you know, as the new owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'm thinking to myself, I hope you really open up the checkbook and start playing your players. How ironical is that, huh? All right.
All right. Yeah.
You got any last thoughts on this subject?
Uh, the one thing that really irked me the most, seeing that they were reinstating him, well, it didn't irk me the most, caught my attention about it because I heard about it and I was like, oh, that's freaking lame. Blah, blah, blah. It didn't really aggravate me until I saw the tweet from Trevor Bauer about it.
Tell me. What do you say? What do you say? Come on.
I'll summarize it because I didn't like memorize it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's basically good to see, or something like good to see that they're voting he's eligible. I guess you have to actually commit a crime to be eligible to be reinstated. Seeing as how,
Oh,
all of the allegations against him were dropped and
yes.
proven false and everything else. And
Right. Right.
yeah, pretty
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, him and Julio Arias can throw the ball around there in Pasadena sometime. You know what I mean? Hey, that ought to be a nice little thing there. All right. Thank you everybody for listening. Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave some comments, and we'll see you soon on Off the Rails. You are fucking a star. Ugh, fuck. Yeah,
That's too bad we agreed on that.
I know. I
I
know.
thought, I thought you were going to be all for him getting in.
Fuck Pete. You know,
Good.
that guy had 40 fucking years, 30 years to fucking say I'm sorry. The only reason he said he was sorry is because he fucking wrote a book. Fuck that guy. You know,
I
that's how
know.
I feel. Fuck that dude,
I
man.
get it. Yeah.
This is just in. He's a fucking baseball star who was all about Pete. Wow, what a shock. What a fucking shock. That's fucking amazing, right? And I mean, you know, think about this. He came out and said when he was playing with the Reds, he was sleeping with a 15-year-old girl. And that just went under the radar. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ, man. Talk about having the court of public opinion on your side, you know?
Jeez,
Poor
I know.
Pete. Poor Pete, you know? Where are you at? You there now?
I'm almost there.
No, fudge.
At least it
Drop
was
it
on the
off.
way. At least it was on the way to work, not too far out of the way.
So you're dropping the larvae off.
Dude, they're
Oh!
they're in here with all the plants that they need to eat on and everything.
God bless your wife. Oh,
She didn't want the larvae to die, dude.
God dang.
She's saving the butterflies.
So, have they all been taken out of the back of your yard? I doubt that, right?
No, there's some that she's still got in there, and they're like she's already had some, dude, make their cocoons and turn into butterflies and fly away.
Wow.
And then there's other
Wow.
ones and what she does is when she can tell, however she does it, I don't know, when they're ready to start making their cocoon, and then
Yeah.
she transfers them into this like net kind of a thing so that no birds will come down and get them. Like, because
Oh
birds will
my
come down
gosh.
and eat the
Sure.
cocoons. So
Sure.
she transfers them into this net thing till they turn into the butterflies, and then she lets them out.
Jesus Christ. And she's like Mother Teresa
Dude,
for the butterflies. God bless
yeah,
her.
she's awesome.
Man, oh man, that's something else. Holy but Jesus. I don't even know. Where the heck am I going here? All right, I'm going to go here, buddy. All right.
right,
I'll talk to you.
later.
Have a good weekend. All
You
right.
too.